Hi Black Bob students! Welcome to your week 3 online music lesson. The first activity we're going to do today is a very silly dance. So the first thing you need to do is put a big smile on your face and get ready to do a silly dance. Just follow along with me. It's not very hard, but you do have to do some motions. Okay. All right. Form the corn. Form the corn. Form the corn. Form the corn. Shuck the corn. Shuck the corn. Shuck the corn. Shuck the corn. Pop the corn. Pop the corn. Pop the corn. Pop the corn. Form potato. Form potato. Form potato. Form potato. Peel potato. Peel potato. Peel potato. Peel potato. Mash potato. Mash potato. Mash potato. Mash potato. Form the squash. Form the squash. Form the squash. Form the squash. Slice the squash. Slice the squash. Slice the squash. Slice the squash. Squish the squash. Squish the squash. Squish the squash. Squish the squash. Form banana. Form banana. Form banana. Form banana. Peel banana. Peel banana. Peel banana. Peel banana. Go bananas. Go bananas. Go bananas. Go bananas. Oh, thanks for doing that dance with me. Maybe now you could do it on your own and perform it for someone in your home. At the end of our last online music lesson, we wondered, which instruments are paired with each character in Peter and the Wolf? If you did not complete week 2 of the online music lessons, take a moment, go back to week 2, and complete that lesson before returning to complete this lesson. Now that we've all completed lesson 2, let's talk about which instrument was paired with each character in our story, Peter and the Wolf. When Peter was in the story, we heard the string family. Let's listen to that music again. When the story talked about the bird, we heard music from the flute. Let's listen to that music now. When the story talked about the duck, we heard music from the oboe. Let's listen to that music now. When the story talked about the cat, we heard music played by the clarinet. Let's listen to that music now. When the story talked about the wolf, we heard music played by the French horns. Let's listen to that music now. When the story talked about Peter's grandfather, we heard music played by the bassoon. Let's listen to that now.
And finally, when the story talked about the hunters, we heard music represented by the woodwinds playing the Hunter's March, and we heard music by the timpani, or the kettle drums. Let's listen to that music now. Each instrument in Peter and the Wolf has its own unique sound, and each of those instruments belongs to an instrument family. Every orchestra has 4 instrument families. Let's learn a little bit about each of them now. First up is the string family. Most of the instruments in the string family look alike. The main difference between them is their size. They are all played in very much the same way. They can be plucked, which is called pizzicato, or they can make long sounds with their bow. Strings are used to provide a piece of music with a deep, rich body of sound. The largest section of the orchestra, the string family, uses 60 to 70 musicians, often, to create a good, strong sound in the orchestra. In the string section, we have a few main instruments: the violin, viola, cello, double bass, and harp. Perhaps you've heard of a lot of these instruments. Do you know which is the biggest? That's right, the double bass. The double bass can be as tall as a tall basketball player. It's really quite impressive. Next up is the woodwind family. All of the instruments in this family are played with wind because the musician blows into them. For the most part, they look like sticks, but some are longer than others. Though they have basically the same shape, they are made of different materials, and that helps create a unique sound for each of them. Woodwinds also differ in how they are played. The flute and piccolo have a hole that the musician blows across. Other instruments use a reed. A reed is a narrow strip of cane, or wood, that vibrates when the player blows on it. The instruments in the woodwind family are piccolo, flute, oboe, clarinet, saxophone, and bassoon. Our next instrument family is the brass family. As you might guess, the instruments in the brass family are usually made of metal, often brass. They are played with air from the player, so they too are wind instruments and somewhat similar to woodwinds. The difference between them is that the musician who plays brass must use their lips instead of a reed to make the vibration that makes the sound. Brass instruments are really just long metal tubes that flare out at the end. They're actually quite long, and the tubes are bent and folded into more compact shapes that are easier to hold. Instruments in the brass family are the trumpet, trombone, tuba, and French horn. Do you know which brass instrument is the lowest? That's right, the tuba. It makes a deep, low sound. The last instrument family is the percussion family. We play percussion in our music room. There are 2 categories of percussion instruments: pitched and unpitched. An example of a pitched percussion instrument is a xylophone. It's called pitched because we can change how low or high the note sounds. An example of an unpitched percussion instrument is a hand drum. It is called unpitched because we cannot change how low or high the note sounds. Can you think of more unpitched percussion instruments that we play in our classroom? The percussion family has the greatest variety of instruments. Instruments in this family can be tapped, shaken, or scraped. They can be made out of metal or wood. Although it seems like there would be many musicians needed to play all of these instruments, there actually aren't many musicians needed in the percussion section of an orchestra. A percussionist may play many different instruments during a performance. I know we already know the names of many percussion instruments, but I'll say a few again anyways. Timpani, bass drum, triangle, snare drum, xylophone, and glockenspiel. And those are all 4 of our instrument families. For this next part of the activity, you're going to do this all on your own. I need your help learning more about one instrument of your choice. Maybe you choose the flute, which is in the Woodwind family. Maybe you choose the bass drum, which is in the percussion family. Maybe you choose the trumpet, which is in the brass family. Maybe you choose the violin, which is in the string family. It doesn't matter what instrument you choose, as long as it is an instrument that is part of an orchestra, and that means it's part of one of our 4 instrument families. Remember, our instrument families are strings, woodwind, brass, or percussion. I need you to choose one instrument and tell me 3 facts about that instrument. On my classroom website, right below this video, you will see a purple Google form that looks like this. Click on the form to tell me which instrument you researched and 3 facts you learned about that instrument. To help with your research, you can also visit my Bitmoji classroom. Once you're there, you can click on the orchestra poster, which is located right next to the clock. A link to my Bitmoji classroom can be found on my classroom website. Good luck researching your instruments. I can't wait to read all about what you learn. Bye!